All right, we're gonna move on to this Nova here. It's got a really cool story, very special Nova too. This guy, so we're gonna meet the owner and everything, and talk about this sick Nova, man. How you doing, sir? Nice to meet you. Maxwell, my name. What's your name, sir?
Jared.
Jared. Where are you from, Jared?
Idaho originally.
Idaho. Okay, awesome. So you, what brought you out here to Arizona?
No snow, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I tell a joke that I threw a snow shovel in my truck and kept driving until people didn't know what it was.
Oh, wow, okay.
Then once I got to where nobody knew what it was, I knew I'd gone far enough.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now every once in a while I get snow at my house here.
Yeah. Well, you have a beautiful 70 Nova.
Thank you.
Tell us about it, man. How did you get this car?
Well, my dad actually found it back in 1990.
Okay.
And he used to drive past it all the time when he was going to work, coming back from work, stuff like that. And it's been so long ago, I don't remember the story really, but he stopped to talk to him. I can't remember if it had a for sale sign in it, but it sat next to the road forever. So we stopped and talked to him and got looking at it. Anyway, long story short, we ended up making a deal on it. Paid $300 for it.
Wow.
Come to find out, they were the original owners. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty cool. Spent the first 18 years of its life in Utah, right around the Roosevelt, Utah area.
Okay.
Lived there until 88, and then 88 they moved to Idaho Falls, which is where I bought it. We bought it in 1990, and then I've had it ever since.
Wow.
So I had a 250 straight six with a 3 on the tree.
Yeah.
So when we got it, it wouldn't start, but you could pull start it. Since it was a stick, you could pull start it. And the only reason was the ignition switch on the top of the steering column. The screws that held it tight were loose. So when you turn the key, it would actually move the ignition switch.
Okay.
So all the lights had come on, but it wouldn't actually engage the starter. So to start and run wouldn't have an issue. So anyway, we got it home and dropped the column and fixed it, and it's been working ever since.
Wow.
So, but yeah, like I say, my dad actually had to drive it home because even though I could drive a stick, I'd never seen a stick on the column.
Yeah.
I'd driven down on the floor, but not up here. I couldn't. So my dad actually had to drive it home. But yeah, it's just I drove it that way. It had 126,000 miles on it when we bought it.
Okay.
And then that was in 90. And then in 95, I put a 327 V8 in it with a turbo 350 automatic transmission in it. It had about 157,000 miles on it at that point, so in 5 years we put 30,000 miles on it. And I used to drive it summer, winter, didn't matter.
Yeah.
6 inches of snow, a foot of snow on the ground, I drove it all the time. So anyway, I put the 327 in it, and of course, was at 95, I was about 21, so I did stupid things 21-year-olds did. So, that's about all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, I drove it that way from 95 until 2003, I want to say.
Okay.
And then in 2003, I put a 700 R4 in it, which is an overdrive automatic.
Yeah.
That lasted a year. So I thought, you know what, I want to put a stick back in it. So I found a 4-speed Saginaw, put a 4-speed back in it in 04. And then in 2010, I put a T5 out of a 92 Camaro.
Okay.
So now I've got an overdrive 5-speed in it. And then in 2006, I bought a 74 Nova that was completely rusted out, but it had disc brakes and a different axle and all sorts of stuff. So I took the disc brakes and all that stuff and put it on this car. So it was 4-wheel drums, but now I've got 4-wheel discs on it.
Okay.
So the front brakes are 74 Nova. The rear brakes are a combination between 79 Firebird and 79 Cadillac Seville.
Okay.
So because that's what they put rear discs on in the late 70s. So it's got 4-wheel discs on it now. It had a bench seat in it, but now I've got buckets out of a 72 Skylark in it, Buick Skylark.
Okay. Yeah.
But eventually I've got bucket seats out of an 05 Monte Carlo that they're gonna go in it when I get them all reupholstered and everything. Mm-hmm. These ones are gonna be reupholstered and go in a 72 Buick Skylark Sun Coupe that I have that's in paint right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's getting painted right now, and eventually these seats are gonna go in it. And because it's so rare, it's gonna look more like it did factory.
Right.
Whereas this car, there's nothing rare about it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna look like whatever I want it to look like.
Yeah.
So this thing here, like I say, I don't know, when from the factory, it was light blue on the bottom with a white painted top.
Okay.
Because you can look right here. This is where the chrome strip went.
Okay.
It separated the white from the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when they painted it, but sometime before I got it, they painted it dark blue and kept the white top. And that's how it was when I got it in 90. You can see how the other side's a little worse than this one, but this is all that Utah salt on the roads back in the wintertime and stuff up there, so I haven't had a chance to do anything with it yet, but fortunately that's as bad as it is.
Okay.
You know, everything else is in awesome shape other than the wheel wells.
Okay.
It's funny because back in 2016, I had a brown trunk on it that came off of Buick Apollo because the original one got dented, so I found another one to put on it.
Yep.
I was going through one of these fenders. I think it was this fender. Had a big dent right here, so I'd found another fender, and then I had a buddy do some stuff to it, whatever. So it was like a greenish color. So anyway, I had a green fender. The hood was all you could see. The primer through the hood right here, and all this. Anyway, a different trunk, and I thought I was tired of it being a bunch of different colors. So I had a friend of mine back in 2016. He kept trying to talk me into painting it like this. I'd never even seen this movie before, never even heard of it. So he showed me some pictures, and I thought, that's kind of cool. But, I mean, so I decided to do it just more so that it was one color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. In Idaho, not a lot of people have seen this movie, but down here, I get everybody at gas stations want to take pictures of it.
Right. I think it matches well about the patina look too.
Yeah, and that was kind of my thought. Is we didn't prep anything.
Right.
We just went right over the rust, right over everything. Because after a while, the rust started showing through, and I hit it again.
Yeah.
You know, at first this was a sticker, but then it started to peel up. So then I masked it off and painted it. So it's all paint now.
Okay.
So that way I can just keep painting over it and stuff like that. So it starts to fade.
Right. Could you pop the hood and show us under there?
Like I say, this motor's been in here for almost 30 years. So it's pretty old, pretty tired. This thing had about 156,000 miles on it when I put this motor in it, and it's got 340,000 now.
I think that's what attracted me to this car. 340,000 is.
Yeah.
It just shows you like these cars back in the 70s and early 60s. This is like or late 60s. They just last.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, man.
Well,
like,
that's the thing is with any car, if you take care of it, it lasts.
Of course, yeah,
I mean,
of course.
This thing here, I drove it summer and winter. Didn't matter. I drove it summer and winter every single day until about 2006. And then I finally got rich enough to where I could afford a four-wheel drive to drive in the wintertime. So then this would get parked in the wintertime, but then I drove it every single day in the summertime. Once I moved to Arizona 4.5 years ago, this didn't get driven all that much because it doesn't have AC and it's hot.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I don't drive it nearly as much as I used to in Idaho.
Right.
I miss that, but someday I'll get back to doing it again.
Right.
You know, so, but yeah, 3 years ago, my son and I, we rebuilt a different axle for it. So we put positive traction with a 373 gear ratio in it.
Okay.
So the overdrive transmission likes that a whole lot better than the 308 gear ratio it had in it.
Yeah.
So it cruises along awesome on the freeway now.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And when you're ready to drag race and hook, I'm sure it's ready for that too.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of stupid not street racing when I was, younger after I put this in there.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't drag race.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, stuff gets broke when you drag race.
That is true.
Then you risk running into stuff. I don't want to do that.
That is true.
I'm more about driving it. That's the way I was raised.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was raised around cars, but not to the extent my kids were. I mean, my dad has a '68 Camaro that he bought brand new.
Okay.
Still has it.
Wow. Okay.
And it's got about 330,000 miles on it.
Wow.
So he drives the wheels off of it too.
Yeah.
So I was raised around that car, you know. So I mean, to us, cars are cars.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, we bought this. I drove this thing day in and day out, summer and winter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. It was a car.
That's what I like too.
Even now, I still drive it.
Yeah, they're meant to be driven. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, a lot of people they won't take their cars out. Oh my gosh, it's raining. So what? I don't care. That's part of the fun. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll eventually get back to the point where I'm probably driving this thing a whole lot more often.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, it's like I say, it's gone through a lot. I mean, the only option that it had from the factory was a glove box light. It's the only option it had.
So it was really just like base.
It was basic.
Yeah.
There was absolutely nothing special about it.
Wow. Okay.
At all, other than maybe the two different colors might have been an option, but you know, the glove box light was the only option. It didn't. I mean, it didn't have power brakes. It didn't have a sway bar on it. I mean, it had manual steering in it.
Wow.
Armstrong steering is what we always call it. So I mean, it just, you know, it had no options whatsoever.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's why I say there's absolutely nothing special about this. And so that's why, you know, realistically I can do whatever I want with it. But Skylark, you know, they made anywhere from 1,600 to 4,000 of them. They don't even know how many of those they made. So it's rare enough. I'm going to make it look like what it was supposed to. But
okay. Yeah, I can't wait to see that one out here.
Yeah, someday I'll get it back from paint. But, But yeah.
Anything else you want to tell us about the car? Anything special?
I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah, I just love how it's driven. It's got a good story.
Yeah.
Paint scheme obviously is cool.
Yeah.
I love Novas. I've always had an affinity for these.
You know, the funny thing is where I'm from in Idaho, years and years and years. We went years where this was the only Nova that ever showed up at a car show.
Wow. Okay.
The only one. And I mean, I knew that there was a few around.
Yeah.
But nobody ever brought them, or nobody ever, you know, drove them and stuff. I saw a few of them, but just never did. You know, over the years I've probably had 8 or 9 of them.
Wow. Okay.
But this is the only one I ever kept.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I've had another 70 Nova. I had a 71. I had a couple of 72s, 3 or 4 74s. You know, so I mean, I'm partial to them. But, you know, I'm one of the few that I know of that's really got them.
Right.
But I see them all over the place down here.
Yeah, there's a few down here. Yeah.
There's a lot of them down here.
Yeah.
I found a 73 Nova in Mexico.
Okay.
That I'm sure I could get. It's just coming up with the money. But
yeah.
But I thought I don't need another Nova.
Yeah.
I've had too many of them.
Yeah. It was recently, probably like within the last 6 to 8 months, I found about the Apollos. So I saw an Apollo in Tucson. And I was like, is that a Nova? The kid was telling me, no, it's a Apollo. And
it's a Buick.
It's a Buick, yeah.
It's Buick's version of the Nova.
Yeah.
You know, they joke and they say, so I had a buddy of mine, he's since passed, but he had an Apollo. So we'd always park them next to each other at car shows. And we always say Nova, not a Nova. Because they're all but identical. Other than the grill.
The front end's a little different.
They're a little identical. But the funny thing is a lot of people think that it could be true, but I don't know, is that they call them the clones. Because Buick had the Apollo, Oldsmobile had the Omega.
Yep, Omega, yep.
And actually, you know what? I take that back. His wasn't an Apollo; it was an Omega.
Okay.
I think about it. And then they had the Pontiac Ventura.
Okay, right.
So, and they were the clones, which I don't know if this is why they came up with the names, but you had Nova, Omega, Ventura, Apollo.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
I don't know if there's any truth to that.
Yeah, because Nova's top of the line.
Yeah,
Nova's.
But see, the Nova name came out in like 62 or 63.
Yeah,
so the Nova name was out long before the others. I don't know if there's any truth to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find that interesting.
Yeah.
But the one thing that always used to drive me crazy is when people say Nova in Spanish means no go. Which is funny because they say, oh, well, Novas didn't sell very well in Mexico.
Yeah. But
there's
everywhere.
tons in Mexico.
Everywhere.
I've seen them myself.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I mean, I know where 3 of them are right now.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's like, and they're just within earshot of the border. You know what I mean? So I mean, anyway, it cracks me up because Nova in one word doesn't mean a thing in Spanish.
Right.
2 words means no go, but 1 word anyway.
Right.
So yeah. So I don't know. Eventually, this will probably get an LS motor put in it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely come back for the update.
Well,
That'd be awesome.
It might be a long time in the
Yeah,
future.
that's
so,
fine.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've had this for 33 years, and it's just, you know, it just, you know, once I get my Buick and stuff together, I mean, it could be a few years before I'm doing that.
Right.
I've had that since 2000.
Okay.
You know, so it's finally at paint. I'm hoping to get it back in the next couple weeks, and I can start doing some stuff with it. But
Well, Mr. Jared, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, man.
All right,
Great
man.
story, man.
Yeah.
This is awesome car.
like I say, it's gone through a lot over the last few years. I just put these on. These are 69, 70 only, and my car didn't come with them. But I just put those on a couple months ago. I had them for, I don't know, 20 years. Just never put them on.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, it's got a different axle in it. I had 327 emblems right here for a long time. I took them off because, like I say, the thought is eventually I'll put in a list motor.
Right.
You just wanna start shit, huh? Cutting niggas off at the Target. Little did he know I was starving. I could give a fuck, but the mortgage don't. Never could afford shit now. This music finna hold me down. Music finna hold me. Music finna hold me. Music finna hold me. I wasn't meant for that shit. I was lit for the drug.